These people are naming the presidential candidates they know ahead of the 2026 elections.
President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni ne Kyagulanyi Ssentamu.
Mami nandaba mfavi manyiko Segirinya manyiko President Museveni na Bobi Wine Kyagulanyi.
It is important to note that there is no presidential candidate called Segirinya.
Roughly 3 months to voting day for presidential candidates and members of parliament. There is still a huge gap in voter education. The public doesn't yet know a number of things, even including the number of presidential candidates that we have as of now. Some say we have 8, others say there are 9, some even say there are 2 presidential candidates. We hope that the bodies concerned will address this by voting day.
Last month, the Electoral Commission confirmed 8 presidential candidates for the 2026 elections. These are Yoweri Kaguta Museveni of the National Resistance Movement, NRM, Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu of the National Unity Platform, NUP, Nathan Nandala Mafabi of the Forum for Democratic Change, FDC, Mugisha Muntu of the Alliance for National Transformation, ANT, Robert Kasibante of the National Peasants Party, NPP, Joseph Elton Mabirizi of the Conservative Party, CP, Mubarak Munyagwa of the Common Man's Party, CMP, Frank Bulira of the Revolutionary People's Party, RPP. One of the biggest challenges to proper voter education in Uganda is limited funding.
We have been talking about funding. It has been a common concern of every member here. Why are we doing voter education late? This is because of the limited funding that the Commission has. What do we do to counter this reality? We do milestone voter education initiatives.
Voter education is a subsection of civic education. According to Article 61 1G of the 1995 Constitution, the EC is mandated to create and run civic education programs about elections. The Electoral Commission Act Cap 140 also allows the EC to run or oversee voter education and public awareness activities. The EC works with other groups such as civil society organizations, religious institutions, media houses, and local government leaders, but these groups must first be officially approved by the EC, follow EC guidelines, and keep their messages neutral and non-partisan. This year, there were delays in accrediting these groups. The EC says some of these delays were due to past issues with how these organizations worked during previous elections.
Sometimes you agree that this is how we are going to move, but when they go out there, some of them do otherwise, which was causing some discomfort in some societies. So for this specific general election, we've been a little tight on our partners. That is why it has taken a long period.
These delays have reduced the time available for voter education.
By the time the accreditation came on board, we had to work on the messages. So by the time you work on the messages, and you have to take back the messages to Electoral Commission for approval. Electoral Commission brings back the messages with challenges, with comments, and still you have to respond. By the time the back and forth is done, already we are in another cycle.
And this could affect the outcome of the elections.
Well, if I gauge from last year's voters' education to date, Electoral Commission is just beginning. In our view, they have not yet reached there.
The EC has been changing the timetable, the roadmap, for several times. You find most of them are peasants, and others don't have even access to media. Gadgets like televisions and radio. But what they know that there is voting and they come to vote. But they always cram those dates that will be on my polling station on 5th. So because most of the materials used are not translated, you find that when they change these programs, many miss out.
Since 2004, the Electoral Commission has mainly used traditional media for voter education. To improve civic education in the future, the Uganda Human Rights Commission is working on a civic education policy.
The policy, as required by the process, underwent a regulatory impact assessment, which was again done collectively with partners. The regulatory impact assessment was passed, and it has proceeded to the Cabinet Secretariat. So our hope is that it will be processed sooner than later, so that it is sent to Cabinet to approve a policy for Uganda for civic education.
The EC has made some progress for people with disabilities, like using sign language interpreters. But there is still no proper support for those who are visually impaired. Lydia Feli Akulu, NTV Tonight.